Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics. So there's been a number of maddening features of British politics over the last few years as Brexit, the malevolent hobgoblin of the Conservatives, has permeated other parties as well and is breaking reasoned political discourse. But one of the most frustrating things for me, being a Labour member, is having to keep reminding people that Labour are a Remain party. Now, the grassroots membership are overwhelmingly in favour of it. The parliamentary party are overwhelmingly in favour of it. The trades unions are overwhelmingly in favour of it. The Labour voters are overwhelmingly in favour of it. The problem is that the leader isn't. Now, actually, that's not the only problem. Were that the extent of the issue, then there wouldn't actually be a major problem. It's a strange thing that Jeremy Corbyn, the archetypal rebel who so often voted against his own party when it was in government, has been brought largely to heel as leader. No longer being able to vote against our participation in the EU, he had to pretend to be a Remainer. But he thinks he has been tactically cunning by making Labour seem to be both Remain and Leave at the same time. Now, on the face of it, the calculation goes like this. A third of Labour voters at the last general election were believed to have been in favour of leaving the EU. As such, he doesn't want to annoy them by getting fully and unambiguously behind a public vote, even though getting behind a public vote isn't the same thing as getting behind staying in the EU, because after all, if it's what the majority want, they'll vote for it again, right? But what he wants to do is he wants to leave it as a last resort. Now, there are a number of things he's not taken into account with this thinking, in my opinion. So the first one, he's forgetting that the people who voted Labour last time are not enough to get him into government, because they didn't. You know, not even as part of a coalition. He needs more voters, a lot more. The second thing is, by trying to attract the Leave vote, he is competing directly with the Conservatives, with UKIP and the Brexit party. And those are all parties that are clearly, no matter what Jeremy Corbyn tries to say, they are clearly much more anti-EU than Labour. So how does he expect to gain a significant, if not a major proportion of that Leave vote when those Leave voters have got the Conservatives, UKIP and the Brexit party to choose from? The third thing is he's made no assessment as to whether those 1/3 of Labour voters last time have seen what Brexit means and have changed their minds. And four, it also has to be borne in mind, twice as many Labour voters want to remain. And not just an idle want. They need to remain because they know that their income, their healthcare, their security depends upon it. And there are a lot of Remain voters out there who would certainly vote for a party that would remove the spectre of a pro-Brexit government. But there's another side to his strategy when it comes to Brexit. So sure, the usual way to win a general election is to win over enough voters to get a majority of your MPs elected. But there is another route. You can let the current party in government self-destruct and then you just waltz in. Now, there are 3 events coming up in May that could change the Conservative Party forever. Or at least for a generation, and that's pretty much forever in most politicians' minds. First off are the local elections. Now, local elections are already going to be bad territory for any party that's been in government for 9 years. This year it could be carnage, as both opponents and even supporters of the Conservatives will want to give the leadership a punch up the nose for the current mess. Next, of course, are the European elections. Now, if the Brexit party clean up, or even a combination of the Brexit party and UKIP, it really doesn't matter, then the Conservatives will perceive that their normal voting public are backing these groups because their own party isn't hardcore enough on Brexit. Now, there are already lots of reports of Conservative councillors publicly saying that they are going to vote for the Brexit party in the European elections. Now, voting for a party that is not your own is grounds for removal from a party. So to openly be saying this in such numbers is quite remarkable. Finally, the Conservative membership are having an extraordinary general meeting at about the same time, with the intention of expressing no confidence in Theresa May's leadership. So, if the Conservatives are smashed in the local elections, the Brexit party dominate the European elections, and the grassroots Conservative members overwhelmingly express no confidence in Theresa May, all combined with the fact that the Conservative Party has been losing a fortune as donors have stopped funding them, then the knives will be out for the Prime Minister. She might as well go back to her walking holidays. Conservative MPs last week decided not to change the leadership challenge rules, but that could easily change in a month's time. If May goes badly for May, then June could actually be the end of May. For real this time. In that situation, the Conservatives would elect a new leader, of course. Now, in such an atmosphere, the moderates would be well and truly taken hostage. It's almost certain under that situation that a hardline MP would win the leadership contest, possibly even Boris Johnson. Now, Johnson is loathed in the parliamentary party, but he's loved in the grassroots. So if he became the next leader, the Conservatives would almost certainly split on that issue. And therefore, that would open the way for Labour to be all but guaranteed the next general election, which would also be fast coming, you would think. But that's how the thinking goes. Now, don't get me wrong, it is all a plausible sequence of events. But I fear the danger is that Corbyn is so fixated on the existential threat to the Conservatives. Oh, you know, they're in real trouble. And if we do this and we do this and we do this, they could collapse. Yes. But he's ignoring the fact that Labour are also in serious trouble. Now, if the events as I've described them come to pass, then it could indeed spell electoral doom for the Conservatives. But for him to maximise his chances of that, he needs to remain ambiguous on Brexit itself, which is why I think he's doing it. Keep the public vote as an option, but keep the preference for his version of Brexit. That way he thinks he's satisfying both sides. Of course, he's not really satisfying either side. But that could spell trouble for the Labour Party itself, because it isn't just Theresa May that is defying the will of her party, or seem to do so. Jeremy Corbyn, if he risks a hardline Brexit, then his current massive support in the party membership that is basically making him untouchable by the parliamentary party could melt away. Allowing Nigel Farage to win lots of seats in the European elections will be seen as a complete betrayal of his party. And they've already expressed outrage at plans for the Labour manifesto, which didn't include the public vote. Someone leaked that and everyone went mad. They're now having to redraft that quite hastily. But Labour MPs have also been putting pressure on the National Executive Committee, which is the group of within Labour that approves the manifesto, and they're going to be doing this next week, to insist that there is a clear pledge for a public vote before they pass it this week. Now, there are huge forces opposed to each other in both Labour and the Conservatives. And as I say, the danger is there for both parties. And I just hope that someone in the leadership of the Labour Party is paying attention to what's going on in their own party, while I think a lot of people, Corbyn included, are fixated on what's going on in the Conservative Party, ignoring the fact that there's problems ahead for their own. But anyway, that's my assessment of his strategy. Let me know what you think, of course, in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, don't forget to click the like button, subscribe for further content, and click the bell notification as well. Until next time, I'll see you later.